How's it going, guys? Andy here from 4K Downtime, back at you with another video. So Nintendo have just finished celebrating their second birthday, so happy birthday Nintendo Switch, as well as happy birthday to every single game including Breath of the Wild and all the other games that launch alongside with the Switch. Nintendo of Europe have celebrated with this very delicious looking cake. This image, it looks really good, and yeah, I'm kind of glad that they put out an image like this, because it just looks awesome with the two Joy-Cons as the candles and everything like that. It looks really good. But I just want to give my overall thoughts of the Switch so far, being in its third year now. How did I feel about the first 2 years? How did I feel about last year? And of course, how I'm actually thinking about them moving forward this year in 2019. So as a whole, my overall thoughts with what I think about the Switch is that I really like the system. It's definitely one of my favorites, and definitely my favorite console so far. I like it more than my Xbox One, than my PS4. It garners up a lot of my playtime as well. I've played so many games on there, and not perfect. There are definitely improvements. Just about with any consoles, there's always nothing that's perfect. There's always things that you can improve upon. But as a whole, I'm really satisfied with it. Like I said, I have got issues, and I will delve into that a little bit. But throughout the 2 years that I've had the console, because I've bought it since launch, and again, one of the best things about it is that the portability aspect. I've always loved that, because portable gaming is a big part of my life, and I'm really glad that Nintendo knows this and have created something that I could just play anything. There's no restrictions, no complication, with certain things will be different, playing it on and off, but they just make it so seamless. That's what I love about it. And of course, when it comes to games, a console could only be as good as its games. And when it comes to games, as far as exclusive goes, many of the titles that I've played on the Switch so far, while I can't say they're the best in in their own genres, for some of them at the very least, I still felt Mario Kart 8, as much as I love it, there's still that side of me, for example, that thinks Double Dash still holds my heart, as the best Mario Kart game. But the others, like Breath of the Wild, debatable, of whether or not it's the best Zelda game, but there's no denying that I love it, and the same thing could be said for Mario Odyssey as well. Now, in regarding of how I thought about their 2018, now, when it comes to 2018, I know it's a bit of a mixed bag. Some people thought it was very good, and then of course some people thought it was really underwhelming, especially coming off 2017, which is hands down one of the best first years of any console. If you ask me. But when it comes to the second year, it was a bit of a stopgap year. There's no doubt, no denying that. But when it comes to just getting those big titles out there, there's a lot of exclusive. Not counting the Wii U ports, of course, but if you just count the exclusive that did actually came out on the Switch that is exclusive to the platform, I would say half of them is kind of stopgap games, mainly Kirby Star Allies, as well as Mario Party, Mario Tennis. Not bad games by any means. That if anything, their reception was somewhat decent, and they sold really well, especially Mario Party. And Labo, it was more of a kids thing. It was never really intended for the core gamers of the Switch, which is fine. I don't mind the fact that Nintendo tried to appeal to Switch to anyone, because that's kind of just the way how their image is. They want the Switch to be for everyone, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But for a lot of the core gamers, you didn't really get anything until, let's say, Pokemon Let's Go and Smash. And of course, when it comes to Smash, no pun intended, but we all know it's a smashing hit, so no need to dwell on that, and it's a fantastic game, by the way. And of course, despite Let's Go being very split between the fan base, some people liked it, some people hate it, but then again, it still managed to sell 10 million copies. So just imagine then, a game that has got the fans so decisive, when it comes to was it a good game or was it not, still managed to sell 10 million. Just imagine how much Shield and Sword could sell. And that one is pretty one-sided. I mean, there are people having some concerns, I remember after seeing the Direct, some people are a bit concerned that, okay, it's not really a big jump, but besides that, it seems like it's pretty one-sided, that people are really excited for it. So, and I'm one of those people as well. But, when we're looking at the 2018, again, those are really the big titles, for the Switch then. So and they didn't come out until pretty much the last quarter of the year. I mean, before you had Octopath Traveler, which is a fantastic JRPG, by the way. Like, you know, anybody who likes old classic RPGs, especially Final Fantasy VI, I would highly recommend checking it out. However, that wasn't really enough, like, you know, especially for 2018, and I get that, because when I was playing it, I realized that last year I didn't really bought all the exclusive. I bought some of the Wii U ports, primarily Bayonetta 2, which I've done the unboxing for this channel. But other than that, I didn't buy a lot of the Wii U ports because I did own the Wii U, and most of the games that they've released on there, I have actually already played it. So I see little to no reason to rebuy them again, especially most of them didn't really have any additional content. I bought Bayonetta 2 again, it's just because I'm such a big fan, like, you know, of the series. So that was kind of like a no-brainer for me when it was first announced. Now, going into 2019, this year is definitely the year that I felt like Nintendo there is a strong, like, you know, very strong chance that this year could surpass 2017. Because like I said, I already thought 2017 is like hands down one of the best first years for any console. But with 2019, with the amount of titles that we've seen so far already, it seems like it could easily eclipse that. Because just look at the titles that we've got at the moment. We've got like Mario Maker 2, Ultima Alliance 3, what else? Link's Awakening, Pokemon, Shield and Sword, of course, Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion, Astral Chain, and I'm sure there are others that I missed out, but these are the only ones that, like, you know, that instantly popped into my head. Fire Emblem as well, of course. And if all of those games end up delivering what they, like, you know, set out, like, you know, to promise, like, you know, if they even meet, like, you know, the level of hype that they're building up towards, then I have a feeling, like, you know, there will be not just great games, but they will most likely sell very well. Fire Emblem is taking a little longer than I appreciate, but that's besides the point. I'm definitely going to make another video talking about my top 10 anticipated game for 2019. But with 2019, I know also some people have been criticizing, like, you know, that Nintendo's 2019 for the first quarter quite lukewarm, like, you know, nothing really, like, you know, major. Because if we look at the release at the moment, we've got New Super Mario Bros. U, which is just the Wii U port, of course, and we got Travis Strikes Again, which is a game that was very mixed among, like, you know, people who played it. Some people liked it, some people didn't. I'm more towards the people who actually liked it, because I really enjoyed it myself. But of course, neither of those were, well, I shouldn't say that, like, I should say Travis Strikes Again will probably had some hard time selling itself, but, like, you know, New Super Mario Bros. U, despite the fact that what people say, apparently it sold fairly well, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. And of course, we've got Yoshi coming out at the end of March, and then April, May, so far nothing. It seems like to me, until we reach June, like the beginning of June where Super Mario Maker 2 came out, I think from then to the end of the year is where you're basically getting 1 or 2 exclusive games, like, you know, pretty much every month. And I'm looking forward to most of them. The only one I'm not too sure about is Animal Crossing, because it's a huge series. I know a lot of people love it. It was one of those series that Nintendo made that I myself just was never able to get into. Who knows, maybe with this new one, whatever that they're going to call it, New Leaf 2, maybe I would be able to get into it. But as of, like, you know, right now, throughout the whole duration ever since it was first created, I never was able to get into it. Maybe because I'm not into simulators like that, but who knows, maybe, like, you know, they could change something and completely, like, you know, get me on board with this one. But that's but other than that, pretty much every other Nintendo exclusive is one that I'm actually really excited for and looking forward to playing more. And yeah, 2019 is looking pretty bright for, like, you know, for the Switch, and I could easily see Switch unit flying off the shelves, like, you know, when once Pokemon and Animal Crossing, because despite that I'm personally not into it, Animal Crossing has a huge fan base, and I could totally see people buying a Switch. Like, I think with this year, it's going to be the final year where, like, you know, people will say, you know what, Animal Crossing and Pokemon is finally moving to the Switch. I no longer really need the 3DS anymore, and I felt this year, after this year, maybe the 3DS could retire for good. Not a bad system, I absolutely love it, played a lot of great games on it, but I think now it's finally the time that, yeah, he could sit back and just let the Switch continue on, and I think that would be, like, you know, great for both sides, because it had a long run, it had a great run actually, just you could finally rest. That's the way how I, like, you know, look at with the 3DS. Now, what do I want Nintendo to improve this year? Now, this is something that's pretty cliche for me to say by this point because everybody seems to have discussed about this already. It's Nintendo Switch's online. Like, it's such kind of like, I know it's frustrating because it kind of felt like Nintendo is just such a dinosaur when it comes to online. It's been over 2 console generations now and they seems to still have trouble figuring out how to do online properly. I get it, it's frustrating, but then again, they seems to have kind of a lovey-dovey story, like, you know, with Microsoft at the moment. So who knows, maybe, like, you know, Microsoft could help them out with, like, you know, their online. I mean, Tetris 99 is a good first step, like, you know, in terms of like enticing people to subscribe. Hopefully they have more games like this down the line. Who knows, I don't know, Dr. Mario or Mario Kart, they could do any things like that. But if they could make more compelling, like, you know, ways to entice people to sub, I felt like adding more games like that would be great. And also the whole rumored SNES games, like, you know, come in. I know that Datamind apparently, like, you know, now it's not there anymore. But if these SNES games, I mean, are coming to the Switch, hopefully soon, like, you know, they'll start looking at N64 games, looking at GameCube games. I'm telling you, Nintendo, these are the kind of things here that if you announce, like, right now that there will be GameCube games coming onto Nintendo's, like, you know, online, you would get a lot of people subbing it just to play those GameCube games, because right now you haven't got GameCube's virtual console. The only time that people could still play GameCube games, whether if it's emulation through, like, you know, on the PC, or they have to boot up their original, like, lunchbox in order to play it. Don't make that be the only way. Let them be able to play those games on the Switch. That's what I'm, like, you know, really looking forward to. If you haven't thought about it already, think about it. It can get you a lot of subs, and of course just improve, like, you know, your online's infrastructure, because it feels really alien, the fact that I need to use a phone for something as simple as voice chat. Like, the app should be on the Switch itself. There should be no reason why you have to use another device in order to get voice chats to work. Now, this is the one thing I really hope you guys will resolve, like, you know, in 2019, because online is a big thing. I understand online's not necessarily, like, you know, your forte, like, you know, but you are making, like, you know, games right now. Most of your games do support online, especially like Smash, Mario Kart. Like, Splatoon is pretty much, like, you know, an online only game. Aside from that, you have a campaign mode, but online is the most appealing factor of Splatoon. So this is something that you have to improve sooner or later. Like, you know, aside from this, yeah, this is pretty much my only real criticism towards, like, you know, the Switch itself. Other than that, I felt like everything else it's been doing has been great. And games wise, I've never really doubted, like, you know, Nintendo for a moment, and it seems like most of these games that is coming out, they're definitely my cup of tea. Again, with the only lone exception of Animal Crossing, and even Animal Crossing, I might end up loving it a lot as well. Who knows, if they could, like, you know, change it up just to make it a little bit more appealing to me, then pretty much every exclusive that is coming out for Switch this year, I'm looking forward to getting it. And if two of them come out in the same month and I want both of them, I probably have to burn a hole in my wallet if that's the case. But anyway, guys, that's my thought on the Nintendo Switch for the 2 year that it has been out. And again, once again, happy birthday to the Switch, as well as Breath of the Wild and all those other games. And hopefully 2019 is going to be an even better year, and that they're going to sell crap ton of consoles along with crap tons of software. And we'll see, like, you know, where the Switch will be in the same time next year. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching as always. This is Andy signing off. Have a good one. Take it easy.